Hi, and welcome to the Lewiston Tribune Podcast. This is episode number 50. I'm Matt Baney, Managing Editor of the Lewiston Tribune, and I'm joined today by Denny Jones, the president of the Lewiston Roundup. Denny, you've been involved with the Roundup for a while. What is it about the Roundup that you really appreciate? What is it? What makes it special for you?
I think the biggest thing is just the community involvement. We're a little bit different than most of the PRCA rodeo facilities around the country. Out of about 700, we're one of 10 that own our own facility and operate and manage it year round. There's a lot of work that goes into it 12 months out of the year, not just the months leading up to Roundup. And so I think it's so rewarding to see the fruits of our labor when it comes Roundup time. We have a 21 member board, and we really do bust our tails all year long. And so when Roundup comes along, it really is being able to enjoy that time and what we've worked so hard for the last 12 months. Yeah.
And the Roundup starts on Tuesday with Slack. And then the main performances are on Wednesday, the Xtreme Bulls, and then other performances on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. I guess to start with, tell us about Slack. What's it about, and what are viewing opportunities of that?
Yeah, so Slack, people have a bit of a misconception from outside the rodeo world. Slack is a great opportunity for people to come out on Tuesday, no admission, so you can get in the gates free. We will have some vendors set up. You can get lunch, get a drink. What the purpose of Slack is we don't limit our timed event entries. So in the rough stock, we have to limit our entries because we're only able to do those during the performances, and obviously we can't have 35 bareback horses a night. And so those are limited, but the timed events, we take all entries. And with the timed events, we only have 12 runs per night, 12 entries per night. And so if we have 36 in the team roping and we have, 136 teams enter, then those extra 100 will run on Tuesday at Slack. And so we'll have barrels, we'll have breakaway roping, team roping, tie down roping, steer wrestling, and then steer tripping as well. And a lot of times the winner of the rodeo will come out of Slack. So it's no different than the rodeo, other than it's not an event where we sell tickets and have all the vendors there. And it is a really good opportunity for people to come out and watch.
Yeah. The next night's the Xtreme Bulls. That's a newish event. Newish when your event is 90 years old now.
Absolutely.
Right? Tell us about the Xtreme Bulls.
Yeah, so the Xtreme Bulls is a tour on its own. It is only bull riding, and not every rodeo has an Xtreme Bulls. This year, we've been able to take our added money up to $25,000, and we're also a final qualifier for Pendleton, which is the Xtreme Bulls Tour finale. So not only will barring injuries, we will have the top 30 bull riders in the country in Lewiston Wednesday night riding. The other thing we'll have is guys that are not in that top 30, but are trying to make it to Pendleton Xtreme Bulls, and their added money is around $100,000 for that one event of bull riding. And so if the highest finisher in Lewiston that's not already qualified for that event gets an automatic bid. So we did that to drive entries, and then of course our added money is bringing all the big names. So we're really excited. We have a full slate, and it should be a really good night of bull riding. The other thing to note is Matt Sharping from Phenom Genetics, Sankey Pro Rodeo and Phenom Genetics is our stock contractor. We have a theme every night. Thursday night's family night. I think we're giving away around 3,000 tickets to elementary schools, so kids can get in free. We're also doing $10 a ticket for adults on family night. So really just encouraging people to come out and enjoy the rodeo. Something we're doing a little bit different on that night is we have mutton busting from 4 rodeos to qualify. So if kids were able to, the top 6 that finished at our Challenge of Champions in June, Soton County Fair and Rodeo in April, and then Grangeville over the 4th of July, and Weehype just a couple weeks ago. So the top 6 kids from every event or from every event, they get to come out and try to win Lewiston Roundup mutton busting. The one thing we are doing a little bit different and trying to cater to our patrons and the parents of these kids is, we've heard over the last couple of years that it's kind of a late night for some of these kids to get home and get to school the next day. So we are actually holding it at 5:30 p.m. So our gates are opening at 5 p.m. and we're encouraging people to come out a little early and maybe have dinner and they can get in real cheap. Kids are going to be getting in free and watch the mutton busting before the rodeo actually starts on Thursday. Friday, of course, is tough enough to wear pink. We have chicks and chaps out there during the day. And that's always a great salute to breast cancer awareness. Mm-hmm. And then Saturday is Patriot Night. And Saturday has just been overwhelmingly full the last few years. Can't be grateful, more grateful for that. But there's, a few highlights. Like right now, when I leave here, I'm going to go out and we're finishing setting our new bucking chutes. And that's something we've been working on for a long time. For animal welfare, safety of the cowboys. And, those chutes were put in the late 80s. And it was past due really. And we were actually able to secure a grant from Ag West for $75,000. We were very fortunate to get that grant. And, those chutes, they had an interesting trip getting here from Texas, from Prefert. Truck broke down. They were already kind of running behind schedule because of our late choice to make to put these chutes in. And so they got here Monday, and we decided to start pulling the old ones out, and we ran into a couple snags. And so I'd like to note Gary Peters, who's on our board. He facilitated having Peters and Keats shop guys come out, and they had several shop trucks and 4 or 5 workers the last 3 days. And really that's the big driving force that was able to get those put in. So once again, it takes a community to make this event. It's not only is it something that we like, but we feel like our sponsors, our stakeholders, they're all standing behind us and helping it be a successful event.
And as part of that, you mentioned that a big goal for the Roundup organization is to be within the top 60 PRCA rodeos in the country.
Yeah.
And tell us, Denny, why is it you want to be in that group?
So, I think there's some misconception there too. It's not just the prestige or a good feeling about being in the top 60. So there's about 700 PRCA rodeos in the country. And the way that they determine who's at the top down to the bottom is the amount of added money. And so out of the 700, roughly, we are in the top 60 for added money. So we are currently at $15,000 per event added money. And what that does for us is it allows us more opportunities for airing our event on the Cowboy Channel facilitated by the PRCA. It gives us some more national sponsor opportunities. And, it gives us some priority when airing our event on the Cowboy Channel that we feel like helps get our product out in front of that and get new people to come to Lewiston next year after seeing it on the Cowboy Channel. The other thing it does is helps our entries. Being part of the tour and being in the top 60, not only do they get to a chance to earn more money in Lewiston, but they get points to go towards the tour and hopefully make it to Sioux Falls, South Dakota for the Governor's Cup, which is the tour finale at the end of September.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned the Cowboy Channel, and the Xtreme Bulls on Wednesday night will be live on the Cowboy Channel, right?
Yes.
And then the other events will be a 2-hour delay on the Cowboy Channel.
Yeah.
And that's kind of neat. It gives you national exposure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you know? Have you guys heard? Does it seem like maybe the rodeo gets discovered by people outside of the area through the Cowboy Channel?
Absolutely. 2 years ago, coming out of COVID, I should say 2 or 3 years ago, on the tail end of COVID, the Cowboy Channel started this deal called 100 Rodeos in 100 Days. And they aired 100 live performances of rodeo in 100 days. And even for myself personally, you sit there and you watch the Cowboy Channel, and it gives you an idea of places you would want to go visit rodeos. And we've actually had people come to Lewiston that said, we saw this on the Cowboy Channel, and we absolutely put it on our list for next year of rodeos we want to go to. We have a very unique grand entry. We try to get through it timely, but we have some really cool things to offer. We've been so fortunate with Hangar 180 to have flyovers every night with warbirds, and that's something that, while we might be in the top 60, that's something that only a handful of rodeos in the country have the opportunity to do every night. And so we have a really, a pretty unique rodeo, and we're pretty proud of it.
And it does, we were talking earlier, it has some interesting traditions with it. One of them being that everything starts a minute before the hour. So performances start each night at 6:59.
That is
right?
correct. Yeah, 6:59. We open our parking lots at 4:29, half an hour before the gates. Our gates open at 4:59, and the biggest reason for that, and it's been several years. Some of the guys certainly would have an answer to this, and I apologize, I don't, of what year that started, but and I get the question all the time, and I've even heard, that's really annoying, that's frustrating. but with that being said, I can ask them, what time do things start, and they know, and that's what kind of this derived from was people knowing Lewiston Roundup starts at 6:59. We have contestants from all over the country that after coming one or two times, they know, our slack on Tuesday starts at 8:59 in the morning, and our performances start at 6:59. And I don't know who come up with it, but it has been a selling point, and people don't forget.
Yeah. Of course, the rodeo, it's very traditional. This is the 91st year of the Lewiston Roundup, 100 just up ahead, not
Absolutely.
too far. That being said, you guys on the board, you've kind of made a concerted effort in recent years to sort of maybe modernize things, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I know you and I talked last year when we redid our arena. That was something that in '82, they, that facility, their slogan that year was all new in '82 when they moved from North Lewiston, and at the time it was state of the art. And we've made an effort to modernize our facility, our infrastructure, but also, we want to stay true to our heritage and true to our history, but we also want to be very proactive in staying in the top 60 and building this rodeo. I strongly feel that we can honor our history and still stay with the times and modernize our facility and try and drive more to the way that rodeo is going.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned one of the parts of that is you just recently hired a general manager for the Lewiston Roundup, and why did the board decide to do that, and what are you hoping your new person can do in that role?
Yeah, so this idea has been kicked around for several years. Good friend of mine and 20-year director Willie Dybel had floated it by the board a couple years ago, and honestly, until recently, we just haven't had the budget to do it. But we've finally gotten to a place where we have enough sponsorship dollars coming in that the sponsorship has grown too much for a strictly volunteer board. And that's what we are, is a 21-member board of volunteers that most of us are working full-time. And so this person's going to be mostly handling sponsorships, both getting sponsorships and then fulfillment, and making sure that we're good stewards of those sponsors. But to be in the top 60, we have to have the added money. We have to have the infrastructure, and we have to bring in the right, the best announcers in the world. Will Rasmussen, in my opinion, is if not the best, one of the best. JJ Harrison, who's been a longtime rodeo clown, one of the best that's ever done it. Bullfighters, that are going to the NFR every year. The stock contractor, same thing. They're sending bucking horses and bulls to the NFR every year. And to have all those things, you're paying for the best. And to pay for the best, we have to bring in the money to do that. And so the sponsorship level we're at, we've decided that it's time to take that jump and bring somebody in that can do that full time and kind of help facilitate it.
And you mentioned it's Lacey Peer will be the general manager. You just hired her recently.
Yeah, just this week. We went through a long, rigorous kind of a process. We had some really good applicants. We had like 12 applicants, and we brought in a handful that really any one of them could have done it. And so we felt very fortunate to be able to have the applicant pool that we did. And we actually even brought in some resources from outside the board, some business people from the Valley, some of our stakeholders, big sponsors, and we just really wanted to do our due diligence and make a good choice here. And we really feel like we've done a good job, and she's going to hit the ground running.
Denny, during the roundup, are you able, during the performances, are you able to sit back and watch them much, or are you pretty busy?
Yeah, I'm currently the arena director, and I really like to be hands-on, and I've been in that role since before I was president as well. And during the performances, I'm in the arena in the thick of it, for all events. So myself, I don't get, I mean, I'm absolutely front row seat, but working each performance.
So it's probably hard for you to get super wrapped up in like, oh, he's got this score, oh, what's going to happen next. You're probably a more passive spectator.
Kind of the opposite, to be honest with you. I'm actually keeping track. I've got communication via radio up to the crow's nest where the announcer is, and I'm clarifying stuff. If there's a communication error between the judges and upstairs, or from the shoot boss Wade Sankey, who brings the livestock, I'm constantly calling stuff up for him for the buck order. Also anything on the timed event side, and so it's kind of odd, but immediately if there's a new high score on a rough stock event or a new low time in a timed event, I absolutely know. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Denny, if someone's looking to go out and watch a rodeo, get some tickets, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, so there's a couple different ways. You can always go to lewistonroundup.com and buy tickets ahead of time there. Tickets are doing quite well. We had an update from our ticket chair last night, and we're very happy with where we're sitting. But the Little Red Barn is in the North 40 parking lot, and you can go up there during the days till about 3 p.m. and buy tickets from there. Like I said, you can always get online, and you can come out to the Lewiston Roundup grounds and purchase them at the ticket window the day of. The one thing I will note, as always, it is $5 extra the day of. So try and get your tickets early and avoid the $5 day of increase.
And continuing with free parking at the Roundup this year, right?
Absolutely. We started that last year, and it was, not only for the patrons being a huge positive reaction, but for us being able to get our patrons through the gate, not out stuck on Tammany Creek. And that's our biggest goal, is anybody that wants to be on the Lewiston Roundup grounds in a seat and be able to watch the rodeo start at 6:59, they should be able to do that. The inflow of cars has been much smoother since making that transition, and we're okay with giving up the revenue from parking to get anybody that wants to be in our facility the opportunity to do so.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a favorite aspect of the rodeo? Is there an event or anything in particular that you enjoy the most?
That's a funny question, because I think it's evolved. When I was first getting on this board, 2018, it was all about the rough stock, and new things come along. We didn't do breakaway when I first got on the board, and so that was kind of exciting. But, with my daughter and my wife and son, my daughter's not a lot, but she's doing a little bit of barrel racing. And so our favorite event, like at the NFR, is barrel racing. And it's just amazing what those cowgirls are doing. And, our crew out there at the grounds has been working so hard on our ground the last several years. And I think kind of where I'm at right now is watching the barrel racing is my favorite event to watch right now.
Wow. Well, all right, Denny, thank you very much for coming by and chatting about the Roundup. Anything else we might want to know that comes to mind?
I don't think so. Remember that the parade, goes through downtown Lewiston Saturday morning at 9:59. And I just invite everybody to come out and enjoy the show.
All right. Well, thanks, Denny. Thanks for joining us. And thank you for watching this episode of the Lewiston Tribune Podcast. You can catch the podcast at lmtribune.com on our YouTube page, and we have a new episode each week. So we'll see you next week with another one, and until then, have a great day. Thanks.